Today's recipe proves that even with an almost empty fridge, you can still cook something delicious. What's in your fridge? What would an Italian cook? Does it look nearly empty like mine? So Julie and I went shopping for groceries and fresh vegetables, and now our fridge looks much happier. But the recipe in this video is about making the most of what I had when the fridge was almost empty. A pasta with sausage and mushrooms on a carbonara base. One of my own creations. This is the very first episode of my new series called What's in Your Fridge? What would an Italian cook? So whether your fridge is full or nearly empty, please send me a photo and I will cook something delicious from it. In the meantime, let's go and cook this dish. Buongiorno, and it is only just giorno as it is 7 o'clock in the morning. I've got a very busy day ahead. I've got some planning, some meetings, and also I'm getting myself ready for a conference. My day job, by the way, is in finance. I work on housing projects. And today I've got a chocker day, so I decided that I'll get my meal ready in the morning, and then this afternoon or this evening, early evening, when it's time to eat, all I've got to do is to just cook the pasta. So this is a recipe which actually it was a little bit incidental. We didn't have many ingredients. We came back from Leicester visiting my son, and all we had in the fridge was some mushrooms and eggs and a few basic ingredients, sausages and so on. So I made something which uses the carbonara a little bit as the basis, but I modified it. So this is not a carbonara by any means, but there will be eggs and cheese. So I've decided to start early, and as lots of you will have busy lives, you will relate to this. So it's evidencing that you can prepare even a simple meal ahead of time and leave it in the fridge, and then all you have to do when you come back home from work to just cook the pasta, and away you go. When I made this dish the other day, both Julie and I thought it was absolutely delicious, and actually speaks volume, because it goes to show that recipes do not have to be standard recipes or approved recipes to be authentic. And I would highly recommend that you do experiment in the kitchen, because sometimes when you put something together which is based on what you have in the fridge, you come up with the most incredible and delicious recipes. This is olive oil in a frying pan, and I've just chopped a lot of mushrooms, quite a lot. I will not be using all of them for this recipe, but I'll explain what I'm going to be doing with them in a moment. At the moment my temperature is on maximum, so I'm making sure that I give everything a good mix so that all of my mushrooms are covered by some oil. I'll turn the temperature down now on medium, and I'll place the lid on, and I will leave them to gently sweat for about 7 or 8 minutes until they've reduced in volume. But as I will be using egg yolks and Parmesan cheese, or pecorino if you like, this is similar base to what you would do using a carbonara. So I've got a couple of eggs here, and I'm removing the yolk from the white, as I only want the yolk for this recipe. I've got also another 4 whites here from a previous recipe I've made, and as you will now, I don't like to waste food, so I've got a different idea for what to do with this. It's a bit of a dessert. I've not totally crystallized in my head yet, but when I make it the next couple of days, I'll put a link up here, and then you can see what I've got in mind for that. So I'll put this in the fridge, and I'll just give my egg yolks a gentle mix first. And if you're familiar with carbonara, you will know that you need to add some hard Italian grated cheese. So this is Parmigiano Reggiano, but you can use grana if you like, or you can also use pecorino. I'm not making a carbonara, I'm making something different, and hard Italian cheese is all you need really. And I've grated about 40 to 50 grams, by the way, in case you are curious about the quantities. And I'll give this a further mix so that the egg and my cheese incorporates together. And you'll have noticed, as the white is not in there, you get this very thick paste. So what I did, I added a little splash of milk, not a lot, just a couple of tablespoons, to soften it up and make it a little bit smoother. And the milk enables me to mix it a little bit more vigorously, and if you look, all of the lumps pretty much disappeared, and it's a little bit liquidy, but that's fine, that's what I want. And back to my mushrooms, which have, ooh, it's hot, I've been merrily cooking away. So, as I mentioned before, you can see that they've actually reduced in volume quite drastically. There is still a little bit of water at the bottom, so what I'll do, I'll turn the temperature up slightly and I'll try and get rid of some of it. I did say earlier that I wasn't going to use all of the mushrooms for this recipe, so I'm preparing a side dish which I'll keep in the fridge, and I'll start by chopping a little parsley in little pieces. This is also basil, both fresh from the garden, basil and parsley. But I will not be chopping the basil, just the parsley. I like to retain the shape and see the leaves. And I'll keep it on one side. Let's have a look at the mushrooms. Here they are. I'll just yeah, if you look, the amount of water has reduced considerably, so I'll just split them, and I'm going to be pinching some, and I'll put them over here, and this will be what I'll keep in my fridge, and this is what it will be for my pasta this evening. But I'll deal with the side dish first. So a couple of little cloves of garlic, and I'll add them to my hot mushrooms. Perfect. Garlic crushes are great, but you don't get all of the garlic out, which is slightly annoying. That's why often I end up crushing it by myself. Never mind, I think that'll do. I didn't add any salt or any pepper earlier, specifically because there is plenty of cheese in my pasta, and that is quite salty, so I will not be adding any salt whatsoever, rather than when I cook the pasta. But I will add salt and pepper to my mushrooms, as these have got nothing to do with the pasta. Now here are some mixed nuts which we use for our breakfast. So I'm actually interested in whole nuts. I'm going to pinch some and add them to my mushrooms. This is something most probably that lots of people have never tried before. But if you think about it, whole nuts have got quite a earthy flavour, so do mushrooms, and they marry really, really well. So optional, if you don't have any or you don't fancy whole nuts, don't put them in. And you can put in as many as you like. I will be a little bit more generous than normal, as I've got more mushrooms than normal. Excellent, and all I've got left now is to go ahead and add my chopped parsley and basil there, and I'll mix it all together. And as the mushrooms are really hot, as soon as you put the garlic and the herbs, the smell is incredible. I have to be honest, I made a mistake. I don't really know why I used this white dish when my plan is to put them in the fridge inside this one. So I think it's a little bit early in the morning, so I could have actually done with less washing up. Anyway, I'll move them inside the glass jug, which conveniently has got a little lid, and they can go in the fridge. I'll leave them to cool down for a few minutes, and then they will be ready. And this is an excellent side dish, not for today for us, but tomorrow, the day after, chicken, fish, whatever you like. However, it's not all lost, as I can use my little dish to let the remaining mushrooms cool down, as I will be using the pan to fry a little sausage in a moment. And I'm using this very large sausage today, which will be plenty for 2 people, as it is only Julie and I eating. I just scored a line in the middle, as I do not want the skin, I just want the sausage meat on the inside. And you'll have noticed that I'm using a different board when dealing with meat, especially sausages, pork or poultry, to avoid cross-contaminating. This is very important because wood is very porous and absorbs clearly a lot of juices and a lot of the stuff coming off meat. So I would strongly recommend that when you're working with meat, especially poultry or pork, use a different board, and a wooden one, ideally not. A plastic or glass one, ideally yes. And sausages by nature are quite fat anyway, so I'm not going to be adding any more oil. There is a little residue at the bottom of my pan anyhow. The temperature at the moment is on a medium, so I'll just add my sausage first. And also sausages are salted already, so again, no need to add any salt to this. You can use any type of sausage, by the way. As I said earlier, this is a recipe based on what I had in the fridge, which I'm now replicating. But also, you do not have to limit yourself to sausages. You can use any pork products or even chicken. There isn't a rule really. Pancetta, for example, or bacon, or even Parmesan, or Salame. If you buy some salame and you chop in tiny little pieces, you can do the same with salame. This is actually a very good time for me to mention something. A little while back, one of a very loyal viewer and subscriber, Robert, I think he lives in the States. Hi Robert. He sent me a note making a suggestion that maybe I could do a little series where I look in the fridge of my children, I think he suggested, and cook whatever they have in the fridge, or with whatever they have in the fridge. And then exchanging messages with Robert, the idea changed and it evolved. And I decided that actually I would do a little mini series, and I will call it What Would an Italian Cook? Actually, what's in your fridge? What would an Italian cook? So I would like to suggest that if you send me a photo of whatever you have in your fridge, just don't go shopping any time of the day, and I will post a little link to this video in the description and in the first comment, where I've got a Facebook page, Tortellino Time Community, and if you send me a photo of whatever you have in your fridge, and I will replicate some of the ingredients depending on what you have, and I'll cook whatever you have. I think it's a little bit of fun, and it demonstrates maybe some of the flexibility and some of the adaptability that we might have based on what we have in the fridge. So if you have any views, or if you have any wish to send me a photo, please do. I would love to interact with you, and let's see where it goes. So I'll start at the moment with what I had in the fridge a little while back. I didn't take a photo, but I'm telling you the truth, of course. And of course, thank you, Robert, for the suggestion. That's very kind of you. So my sausage has been cooking merrily while I've been chatting away, and look, it's looking absolutely beautiful. So I'll turn it off so that I don't end up burning it, and I will remove it from the heat over here. I need here, perfect. And I'll leave it to cool down, and then about a couple of minutes, enough for the sausage not to cook the eggs, and I'll mix everything together. Okay, before I proceed though, I want to keep a few mushrooms over here, and I'll do the same with the sausage. And the reason why I'm keeping this is because there will be additional garnish on top of my pasta when it's finished. So everything has cooled down. Back to my eggs over here. I think I can move this out of the way, and I'll quite literally mix everything together. So sausages go in, doing sure that everything has cooled down. You do not want to cook the eggs. Followed by the remaining mushrooms. I think my whisk can go out of the way, and I'll give this a good mix together so that the sausages and the mushrooms and the egg and the Parmesan cheese is all combined together. And my sauce is pretty much done, so all I've got left to do now is to put a little cover on top. I've got these very useful plastic rubber covers. Look, they are hermetic, and I'll place that in the fridge. I'll put some cling film on top of my mushrooms and sausages, and I'll see you this afternoon about 5, 6 o'clock when I finish my meetings, and I better go and get ready for work next. So see you later. Ciao ciao. And I am back. How was your day? Mine was not too bad at all. I work from home, by the way, which is great for me because I work part-time, and I can be very flexible and alternate my cooking with my consultancy role. I really love it. And I also like the fact that I can wear shorts, look, I'm wearing them now, without people knowing, because clearly you're in front of the telly. It's great, I love that. And during the winter months, sometimes actually I've got my pyjama bottoms. I look normal from the top. I'm sure that many of you will have done the same. Maybe you can let me know. Do you ever work in your pyjama bottoms? So I've just salted the water, and I've also got all of my ingredients out from the fridge. They've been out about half an hour so that they start getting to room temperature. So the next thing to do is really to put the pasta on. I'm doing spaghetti today. This is my mum's favorite pasta, spaghetti. I'll turn the temperature up so that the water continue boiling. and in doing sure that you read the packaging and cook the pasta up until 1 minute before it is al dente, so that then it can be finished cooking with the sauce. Also, being that this is my own recipe, I've got another little surprise. So I'm going to swap places. I'll put this water here, and my pasta can go at the back and continue cooking. A little splash of vinegar, and I'm going to have a couple of poached eggs, which I will have on top of my pasta. I know it's not a very Italian thing to do, but this is my recipe, and it goes really well. When I did it the other day, it was absolutely fantastic. Look at the size of this one. I think that needs to be mine. So in they go. And the reason why I've chosen this to cook my eggs is because I want to show you how quickly they change, and I think it's fascinating. But obviously it's glass, so do not use something like this. I have done it many times, and I am very careful. Use a normal saucepan if you're doing the same. So just give it a little twist with your spoon or knife or whatever, and they will take about a couple of minutes to cook. In the meantime, before I forget, I will go and get a little of my starchy pasta water from over here, as I will need it later. And I think my eggs are done, so very carefully, I don't want to break them. I'll just gently remove them and place them on a little dish like this. That's number one, and here is number two, and I'll put them on one side. And as I often say, the best way to taste if your pasta is ready is to taste it. So let's have a look. It's just perfect. So I'll turn it off and I'll go and drain it. And I'm back. Also kept a little bit of the water to start with. So I will add my pasta to my mixture first. And I'll put this back on the heat. And I'll mix it using my spoon first to see what it looks like. And I think it could do with cooking for 1 more minute, so in it goes again. And here is my reserved water. I'm going to add half of it and see what it looks like. And what this will do, it will finish cooking the pasta, but because the water is nice and starchy, it will release lovely cream, and it will make the dish also quite creamy. But you don't need to do this for very long, no more than a minute and a half, until the pasta is properly cooked. And I'm pretty much done. If you look, can you see there is a little bit of liquid there, which is beautiful. I'll turn this off and I'll dish a portion. I'll just move away from the hob as I do not want to cook it anymore, otherwise it will be overcooked. So here we go. And that is pretty much one portion done. I'll put this all out of the way, and I'll show you what I'll do next. So you will recall that I reserved some sausages and some mushrooms earlier, so here they are also at room temperature. But before I add those, I want to put a little bit more cheese on top. So here comes my Parmesan, and off I go. Also at the moment I've got a lot of the liquid at the bottom of my pan, so I'm going to spoon some of it on top of my pasta, just like this, so that it's lovely and creamy. Little sausage at the top, and also a few mushrooms, as they are the signature of this dish, of course. And as I place the mushrooms in, I'm making sure that I have a little indentation in there, ready for my egg. Now let's see if I can pick this up without breaking. I was very successful the other day. Hopefully now that I'm filming it, yes, has worked. And the very last thing you're gonna need is a little pepper on top of your egg. And it's ready. I'll just take a couple of photos and then I'll test it. Okay, so time to see what this tastes like. In all fairness, I know exactly what it tastes like because we had it last week, but let's see if this matches the expectations. I just like to break the egg and go for it. So let's have a look. It's a bit too big, but never mind. It's perfetta. I got a mess on my hand. It's really delicious, and the added egg on the top, it really married the entire concept beautifully, and delicious. So remember, try and send me some photos of what is inside your fridge, and I'll try and replicate what is inside your fridge and make something from what is inside your fridge. A little bit of fun. Thank you very much for watching, and Enjoy if you make it. It's absolutely delicious. Ciao ciao, thank you for watching.